They were a manifestation of what I wanted to be. They were heroes. They were people who had dignity. They were not criminals. They were not thugs. They were not, at least they didn't appear that way to me. Somebody who's coming from a military background and then being immersed in a religious environment, what could be better than seeing somebody who manifested both of those things, the religious aspect but also the military aspect? And when you're reading about the stories of the Sahaba, of the companions of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, you longed for it. You wanted to see that. And you're looking around in the world and you're seeing corruption and you're seeing, non-religious people in power. And you look at yourself and you try to fit into something. You wanted to because you were being told this. And when you're reading stories of the Sahaba and the fighting in Jihad and the victories of the Muslims, and you looked around you and you saw that the Muslims were not in victory. The Muslims were helpless. The Muslims were powerless. The Muslims were being attacked and assaulted, and we needed to do something. How could we do something that was in the tradition, that was in the Islamic tradition, so that we could actually have, because we were tied to it already, so how could we then ourselves personally plug into it? And the Taliban showed that to us. They gave that for me, and this is what I saw, that these people were all of that. And the fact that I came back and I looked like them, my turban was tied like their turbans were tied, my beard was like their beard, my robes were like their robes. I was them. I became them. I was now part of the team, so to speak. And when they took control of Afghanistan, I felt like I was part of a much, much larger project. Here I was, just some kid. And, and I was in a Jamaat, and there was a small group. But to belong to something now that's like basically a reanimation of the past, living like Sahaba, what could be greater than that? To plug yourself into that tradition, you cannot, the lure of that is so strong. And this is why we're seeing what we're seeing today. With extremism, with people, they want to be like the Sahaba. They want to be like the companions of the Prophet ﷺ. They want to live in that time of glory, because it is something that the Muslims feel has been taken away from us. It's something that we're missing, and we need to reclaim, and we need to reestablish.
Do you think that becomes more powerful for somebody that was hit or hurt in their childhood? This idea of being powerful and having dignity?
It does resonate very much with people young children, young kids who have grown up in this environment where they may have been discriminated against, they may have been bullied, they may have been beat up because they were Muslim. And now you're part of a strong group. And when you begin to show, it's like a gang. When you start to wear the gang colors, people know, okay, this person belongs to a much greater, bigger group, and they belong to a powerful group. Mm-hmm. And now the kid who was picked on and insulted and looked down on and humiliated and abused, that kid is no longer looked down on, he's looked up at. Mm-hmm. He's no longer abused, he's respected. Mm-hmm. He's no longer cowering in fear. Now people cower in fear of him. Mm-hmm. And the feeling of power that comes from that is great, mm-hmm. especially with a young person who hasn't had that. And for the first time, they actually feel that I am somebody important. Mm-hmm. And for a young person, that's very essential to their development and to their growth. And most of all, the fact that you can now fix people who abused you, who humiliated you, who put you down, the fact that now you can actually take revenge on them, so to speak, is again another powerful component. That you're no longer in a state of humiliation, you're now in a state of power, that you cause fear in other people. And this is something that I think it runs deep with a lot of youth.